Hello, everybody. I know it's hard to hear me. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I feel like I'm failing you by not being available. So for this, I do apologize. You
How
can.
you doing, Patty?
I'm actually gonna try to go to work tomorrow.
Wow.
I figure nobody needs to see me. You can hear how bad I sound.
How long you been sick, Patty?
um, you know what? I've lost about a week of time. No joke. I didn't get my head off the pillow for the first 5 days.
What did they
Um,
diagnose you?
There's
I
something
have
going around.
I have bronchitis and laryngitis. On top of the flu bug that went around, I just got really bad bronchitis from it and laryngitis.
Sorry to hear that, Patty.
But I'm feeling better. I'm actually going to attempt to go to work. I realize that I'm unhelpful when I have no voice. So I'm working on that. So you guys get to stare at my Christmas tree today because nobody needs to see this sick girl, okay? All right. Do we have things that need to be discussed? We do have new laws that are hitting us and new challenges. With the new year always comes new things. So we are limited to 1 month's rent as a security deposit starting in April as a new law for the upcoming year. And we've been handled a few other things that will start affecting us as the year progresses, as far as screening and things of that nature that are becoming a little bit more pro-tenant. But we anticipated that with the numbers the way that they are. Does anybody have anything that they need to talk about, that they need to pick my brain about, that we need to get out before I lose my voice entirely?
Hey Patty, it's Erica from Roadrunner.
Hey, baby.
Hey, for the CPI for a multi-family unit, has that gone up or down from the 8.6%?
In what county?
In San Bernardino, so sorry.
San Bernardino County is 9.6, I believe.
Even for a multi-family?
Yes.
Okay.
They deemed the hub around Ontario as being a metropolis and took away our 5% plus the CPI, capping out at 10, and reduced us to 5% plus 4.6 as a maximum, I believe, in the Inland Empire area. In other words, as nicely as I could explain it to you, it's going to be the next section that gets rent control because it's turning into a metropolis. There's an international airport, there's warehouses, there's jobs, there's housing, there's apartment condos. So that's going to be the next place, in my opinion, that ends up with more strict rent control. We're already seeing it with them capping out the CPI in that area.
Thank you.
No problem. I got a feeling that we'll see a little bit more change coming through with AB 1482 as they adapt it and tweak it to their liking. And yes, I said their liking, not ours.
I have a question, Patty.
Sure.
Look, I've been approached by an organization like Section 8, but they call themselves Step Up.
I know. I'm aware of them.
So what would you recommend that I take them, like I take Section 8, or I have to be careful about anything I need to know before I sign up with them? Please let me know.
Okay. I'm going to share you guys a secret right now, so please pay attention, okay? Brilliant Corners, Step Up, and programs of this similarity are taking the mentally incapable and the homeless and putting them in your properties. That is what those programs are, like Step Up. It's giving them a step up from being homeless. It's giving them a step up from their mental problems. Okay. Most of the issues that I've ever had are with Brilliant Corners and these programs because some of these people are not mentally capable of living on their own. Okay. With that being said, that is my concern for you.
Okay,
If
now, I thought the solution
Section
would be,
8, Section
Patty,
8, I'm comfortable with
yeah,
because
okay.
they have standards they have to follow. The VASH program, I'm comfortable with because they have standards they have to follow. When it gets into Brilliant Corners, Step Up, and programs like this, I get concerned for what you're bringing into your property.
Oh, I thought that if I am going to interview them, I told him I want to interview the tenant alone. And they have a tendency to always have somebody sitting next to them. I wanted to interview him alone, and that's what I'm aiming for, to see how stable he is, if he's going to do anything strange in the building. Like I had a tenant that one
That's
day,
discrimination. That's
you know,
discrimination.
so
You don't get to meet with a tenant alone prior to them renting your property.
okay, so what is the way to not accept them without causing discrimination? What would you suggest? Because by
They
law, you have to take everybody at least into consideration.
they must meet your criteria. If you have written criteria of what your applicants need to qualify in order to live in your property, then that's what your rules are. And if you require a 650 FICO score or higher, then that is your rule.
Okay, Patty, thank you.
I'm trying. You have tools to help you guys. I get that you're exposed to a bunch of BS with all these programs and you can't deny a federal program and you can't say you don't participate, but you can say that they must meet your criteria. Fair enough?
Yes, Patty, thank you.
Okay. What else do we got, you guys? Oh, I get questions. I see them. Oh, Patty, you sound really bad. I feel really bad. Yesterday, LA City Council is saying that you can't evict if brought an animal during COVID. After they move out, you can go back to no pets. See what I mean about them changing the playing field when it's time for the fat lady to sing? Bullshit. That's a lawsuit right there. It's disgusting. I've not been in the meetings for a while, so I may have missed a lot of information. My broker purchased property in Apple Valley, 3 units. Broker wants to terminate the tenancy in one of the units. He will use the reason of major remodeling or relatives moving in. No restrictions. What's the best route? The best route is that law changed this year. I believe it changes in April. It could change as soon as January. They've put new restrictions on the major renovations or relatives moving in. You actually have to name the person that's moving in on the notice, and that property has to be at least taken off the market for 1 year, I believe it is. It could be up to 3. I'd have to look at the law. But there's changes in that that's taking effect right now that isn't going to work the way that you want it to. So if that's your intention, you better be quicker and try to beat the law, for lack of a better way to explain it. Okay? I'd have to look to see when that rule changes, but that rule does change this coming year. So, homeowner move in, you better be really moving in. There is punitive damages, monetary damages, retaliatory lawsuits. It's no joke, okay? So we know that for a single family home, we can go up to 9.6 in San Bernardino County, but what is that amount for apartments? Sweetheart, that's the part you're missing. That is our rent cap for statewide rent control. So that is what it is for apartments. If you're a single family home exempt, you could do a higher increase. I hope that makes sense to you now. Please let me know, Roadrunner. Yes, Val, cash for keys is the best route, but you need to be careful with that in LA County, and I'll explain to you why. If your cash for keys amount is less than what the city requires or the county requires, you could be retaliating. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's what it's become. Hey, P. Jones, how are ya? LA City Triplex, non-RSO, individually owned. Is this subject to AB 1482? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are all properties in the city of LA under no rent increase law? If so, when does that end? Yes, G. Jones. The rent freeze is in LA City, so it is also trickled into RSO. So anything that's LA City or RSO is on a rent freeze. RSO also includes areas of the city of Torrance, San Pedro, Wilmington. It's not just the city of LA anymore. Hang on, you guys. Let me get a drink, okay? Sorry. Isn't my Christmas tree pretty?
Very
Landlord,
nice. Patty, is it
yeah.
okay to assume that February 1st, 4% rent increase in Los Angeles is gonna be okay? And I was told that we can start sending notices on December 15 for February 1st rent increase of 4%.
Do you want my opinion or my advice?
Yes, both.
When you're dancing in the devil's cauldron, you want to wait till the coast is clear before you do anything. So I would serve the notice on February 1st for the increase to take effect in March. That way you didn't serve the notice during the time that they were protected. And that's me being very, very cautious. Understand?
Yes, Patty.
Okay, so yeah, you may be able to do it, but is it ethical? Maybe not. Are they going to use that against you 6 months from now, 2 years from now? It's a possibility. Is it worth 30 days? No. Right? What are you losing? 30 days and 4% of 30 days. To me, it's worth the risk. What are we talking about? I mean, come on, let's be honest here. $40? I'm just talking out loud. I'm trying to get you guys to hear me. Okay? This is what I mean when I say error on the side of caution. A lot of us have had to go through an eviction recently. And when we've given our ledgers to our legal counsel, they've asked us to remove all the late fees. They've asked us to do some things to our ledger to help change it so that the court doesn't see a problem with what we're doing. If this rent increase causes a problem 6 months from now or a year from now because we didn't wait until the coast was clear before we served the notice and it becomes questionable, it's a large price to pay to make a correction and have to reverse a rent increase versus waiting 30 days to implement it. That's just my opinion. Okay? Landlord wants to evict a tenant and the tenant's 6 months behind in rent. Landlord increased rent from $800 to $900 last year. Will landlord have to rescind the rent increase before moving forward with the eviction? I can't answer that because I don't know if the rent increase was valid or invalid. If it was invalid, obviously it needs to be removed and the credit needs to be applied properly. Could rent increase in the city of Compton and Linwood, and what would be the allowed percentage? Contact your apartment association or your legal counsel to get those amounts. Off the top of my head, I want to say it's 8.6, but here's the problem. I gotta look to see if Compton or Linwood has any additional protections within their city. Okay, so don't hold me to that. So I get it. Yay, Roadrunner. So apartments and single families covered by the TPA can be raised to 9.6%, but houses not covered can go higher than that. Yes, correct, correct. You got it. Houses that are exempt. Don't use not covered because we use exemption forms. So if you want to keep your brain using the same language, talking the same terms, and reiterate it over and over in your head, we have to serve an exemption notice. So we want to say that houses that aren't covered by the Tenant Protection Act are exempt. Okay? That'll just help you going forward. And you got it. I'm proud of you. Yay. Oh, thank you. I have no top on my tree. Invalid as it was more than 10%. I gotcha. I'm reading the notes, you guys. And if anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask a question and save my voice for a few minutes, it would be greatly appreciated. Rent increases can be done January 2024, City of LA, not under rent control, duplex. I don't believe so. I don't believe City of LA's rent freeze ends until February 1st. Serve increases on what form? Both unit and separate for parking agreement. Separate for parking agreement, if your parking contract is separate, then that most likely is on a commercial contract and doesn't fall under the laws of rent control. In other words, when you can't raise your rent, you can raise your parking if it's on a commercial contract. Rent increase from $800 to $900 was in the city of Los Angeles. It is over 10%. Looks like no increase law applied in the city of LA. Correct, they are on a rent freeze. So what you would need to do is credit the ledger accordingly. Go back to when the increase happened, remove it, and apply the overage as a credit on the tenant's rent. Then, instead of them being 6 months behind, they may only be 5 months behind. Okay? Just saying. But that's how we do that. And you need to credit that accordingly, because if you get into court with that, they're going to ding you with more stuff than you could imagine, and you're not going to be able to get the tenant out. It's going to be a you problem, not a them problem. Reverse overages when they are found and credit them properly to the ledger. What percent rent increase on a duplex, City of LA, not rent control? It's because it's City of LA, it's probably going to be that 4% starting February 1st. Because it's City of LA. If you're outside of the City of LA, that doesn't apply to you as long as you're not RSO. But another city, like Santa Monica, may have more restrictions. So it just depends on where you are. You literally have to look it up by address. And I taught you guys a secret on how to look it up by address. You guys remember how, right? Do we need to do that again? The easiest way to find out what governs you in LA County is go to, and somebody help me out here, okay? Hi, Allie. If you're just joining us, Patty is sick as a dog, so we're not looking at her, and we're just staring at her Christmas tree while we're talking. Okay, to find out what governs you in the city of LA, and you guys help me out here, okay, because it's hard to talk. Go to stayhousedla.org. That's STAY housed, HOUSED, LA like Los Angeles, .org. Stayhousedla.org. This is a website for tenants. Make no mistake, okay? But if it's the information that they are receiving, shouldn't we know what it is too? Okay. When you go there, it's going to say, got an eviction notice, blah, blah, blah. And it says the eviction, it says get started. And then just to the right of that, it says the eviction process. I need you to click on the eviction process. When you click on that, it will then bring up a list of questions. As you scroll down the page, the background color changes from white to a yellow-green. When it changes to yellow-green, it says laws for your area. Type in the address of the property in question. It will pinpoint it from you and tell you exactly what governs you, what rent increase you're allowed to do, what protections the tenants have, where you need to be registered, how you can get more information. This is the plethora of knowledge that is available to your tenant and your tenant's attorney. So you should also know what the rules are, and this is how you find them based on address. Okay, everybody got it? Stayhousedla.org. Click on the eviction process. And then go scroll down to laws for your area and type in the address specific. It will even help you with east, south, west, making sure you get the right city, the right everything. Okay, that is a plethora of knowledge at your fingertips to help you make educated decisions in what the cities, counties, municipalities, bureaucracy and BS is that governs you. Okay, next question. I had a young couple fool us into renting them. They asked for a 3-year no raise in rent and we agreed. 3 months later, they had to move out. We don't mind people moving out. However, we found these creeps were running a puppy mill and ruined all the new carpet. They moved to LA. Doubt I will go to small claims, but isn't there a way to go straight to collection without eviction or small claims? Yes, there is, but it's enforceable. So it's only how much the debt collector can scare them on the phone. You can't garnish wages or do anything else without going to small claims. I hope that makes sense. And I'm losing my voice. You guys aren't going to get me for long, so if anybody has anything else, please start firing away soon. I'm going to get into a squeaky box in a minute. Let me get another sip of my drink. Give me a second, G. Jones. I see your question. Hang on. Does my LA City landlord need to register the property with LAHD, or we just need to send copies of the notices to LAHD? Here's what I have to tell you. Contact LAHD and ask them. They're going to tell you whether you have to register with them or you just need to send copies of your notices to them. Some of them are exempt from registering with LAHD, but you still have to send notices that would terminate tenancy to LAHD prior to filing an eviction. Oh. If anybody needs anything else or has anything else, I'm gonna end this soon because I'm running out of steam.
Hope to make you feel better soon.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for bearing with me while I was ill. I don't know what happened, but this one hit me hard. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. My voice is telling me I'm done for right now. If you need anything, you know how to find me. Text is best for the next few days. I will see you guys next week, hopefully with a full voice. Bye, guys. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.